Hi, everybody. Welcome to this month's Art Talk. Every month, Julie Schumer and I talk about what's going on in our studios or our art businesses. And today I wanted to talk about something I heard from another artist. So I was at an art show. I was next to a longtime veteran of art shows. He's been doing shows for 40 plus years. He's a printmaker. And he said something we had a long discussion about. And what he said was the inability to change is the death of an artist. And it really made me think, we talked about different artists we knew and how the ones that were able to really embrace change, meaning let themselves, create in a new way, let their life influence their art. When we have new experiences in our life or something happens to us, our personal life, it all affects what comes out in the studio. And your art is, a practice. So it's really important to allow new things to enter into the picture and not just do the same thing over and over and over. You have to grow, you have to try new things, you have to improve. And so we were having this discussion about how if you're willing to evolve and change over time, you tend to be more successful. So, what do you think about that, Julie?
Well, I agree with that. And I know that over the 25 years that I've been painting as an adult, that I've gone through several iterations of, let's say, style, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
And each time I made a change, it was essentially influenced by what was happening in my life. There's
Mm-hmm.
no way it could not have been. And usually that next series was pretty successful, you know, even though I felt like I was learning it for lack of a better word, I was
Yeah,
like figuring it out, I think, because some of the changes I've made involved way different techniques than what I had been doing previously.
right.
I went from using Princeton catalyst wedges with bright color to a quick turnaround to the kind of painting that you see behind me, which has a lot of depth and marks coming and going, and sort of a light touch of rubbing the canvas with either a rag or a paper towel or whatever to make it feel like it had a lot of depth. And that's
Right,
a completely different ball game than what I was doing before.
right.
And then most recently, I embarked on this collage practice. And I can't say exactly what made me do it, other than the fact that I had never done it before. And I was
Mhm.
itching to do something different. Things again were kind of strange, in the personal life. And I thought, well, embracing something new would sort of pull me forward, which it has
Yeah.
done you know so yeah, I think you cannot remain static with this, and I think it's almost impossible to anyway, because you're not an automaton that paints the same thing over and over and over.
No, you're not an automaton.
And these paintings aren't widgets that you just
Right,
paint endlessly.
right. Yeah, there has to be an infusion of something new. And I think I was trying to remember, I think Austin Kleon said something like inertia is the death of creativity,
He
which
did
is
say that.
which is kind of the same idea that when you're just standing still, there's nothing new happening. And
Mhm.
um, so it's a really, I talked with this artist about his printmaking career, and he's done so many different techniques and things that, I wasn't familiar with. And he was showing me, what his current work had that his previous work didn't have. And, we were just discussing artists. I mean, you think about like Picasso, or you think of, there's so many, even Kandinsky, so many famous artists had a ton of different, bodies of work
Right, right.
over a
They did.
lifetime.
Yeah. And I think it's really, you have to do it. It can be scary, and you think, well, maybe
Mhm.
I'm not going to sell these, but really, maybe that doesn't matter when you're just trying it out.
Yeah, well, I think, I find that if I think of the audience, then it messes me up.
Right.
So I have to just paint for myself and who I am. And,
Mhm.
it might not sell, it might sell, but I find that when the artist is the most authentic, I'm more attracted to the work.
Definitely, definitely.
So if anybody out there is thinking about changing their work or they're in the midst of changing their work or experimenting, we'd love to hear your thoughts on how it's going for you and how, what's happened in your life, maybe, travel or something personal, affected your art. Because I think it all kind of, dumps in there, right?
Definitely. And, I just came back from a trip to India. And while I was there, I got onto the photographing the old walls thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that style I loved for a long time. It's like sort of what's behind me. And then I kind of moved away from it a little bit. And I've been wanting to go back, but in a different way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Formed by the intervening years of whatever else I've been doing. And so I have about 100 pictures of old walls to inspire me on the next iteration of marks and depth and sheer paint and veiling and all that. So we'll see what happens.